habitus. It's not your fault. Good morning, all you beautiful people. Happy Thursday. Today I'm gonna fill one of my vision book motivation thingies, intentions, and do my third of 21 YouTube videos in a row. So I'm doing 3 weeks of a YouTube video every day just to make sure I keep on top of it. So today we're going to talk about the 5 worst things about being vegan. Now there could be more as well, but these are my 5 that I thought of. So number one, the growing knowledge of the corrupt food system. When you go vegan, you start to realize through research and things like that how corrupt the food system really is. It's in every single area. Like the whole nutrition board of the United States and many other countries is actually run pretty much more than half, nearly completely, by people off the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the bread, like the processed foods foundations. And all of these get government funding, whereas fruit and veg doesn't really get any government funding at all because I don't know why. But this is all available on the Forks Over Knives movie, and just by researching you can find out a lot more about it. But also you get to know a lot more about, you learn more about the pesticide use in food. Completely irrelevant, completely detrimental to the environment, topsoil, to health. They started creating pesticides from Agent Orange. They had leftover pesticides, or they had leftover chemicals in World War II, so they thought, well, let's use it in food. All right, that's a good way to dispose of it. Also, oils and refined foods. They just add to the corruption because they're advertised constantly as being necessary for health, whereas none of them are. You just eat fruits and vegetables and be very healthy. So yeah, there's the growing knowledge of the corrupt food system. Number 1 of 5. So number 2, having to answer all the same questions over and over again. Where do you get your protein? Are you iron deficient? Are you calcium deficient? What about bacon? What about cheese? Are animals even conscious though? Humans are more conscious than animals. What if you were stuck on a desert island and had nothing to eat apart from a pig? What about plants? Aren't they sentient? They scream. If you care about animals, why don't you care about plants? They're suffering. Or if you stop eating cows, they wouldn't exist. If you stop breeding cows, they take over the world. I think that's a few of them. You get the gist. You just have to deal with the same questions over and over again, and it does get a bit tiresome. What do you even eat? What do you even eat? Number 3. Having to deal with a huge energy increase. Like, maybe not specifically being vegan, but specifically eating a lot more fruit and veg. Because you can be vegan and eat utter rubbish. You can eat pasta every day, white pasta, and you probably wouldn't feel much of an energy increase. You probably feel an energy decrease. But if you eat loads and loads of greens, like a bunch of greens a day, fruit and veg, oh my gosh, it goes through the roof. You don't even know how to deal with it. This morning I woke up, I was a little bit tired, but I had so much energy. I was like, oh, but my muscles were like, oh man, I can't deal with this. I ran a half marathon yesterday, so I'm a bit exhausted. So yeah, just you've got to do a lot of exercise. You kind of have so much energy, you have to do a lot of exercise. So that's number 3, which is fine. I love exercise. Number 4, you're growing away from non-vegans, so you tend to spend less and less time with people who aren't vegan, who don't share that same point of view. I guess it's the same with any sort of lifestyle change. If you became Christian, you probably want to spend more time with Christians because you interact with them better, you have more in common. But it's just a tendency to not want to spend time with non-vegan people because they pay for so much destruction and suffering, and they just are averse to change. That's a real tough thing that I've noticed more and more in the past year or so. It counts for both friends and family. Obviously you want to spend time with family because you're very close to them. But it's just really difficult because you explain why you're vegan and why everyone should be vegan for ethical reasons, that animals are slaughtered unnecessarily for your taste buds. It's more healthy, it's less detrimental to the environment, it's causing so much suffering to both humans and animals. But they just don't get it. They make up excuses for their behaviour when they don't even believe in the excuses they make up. They say, oh, but I don't really care about animals anyway. That's rubbish. Of course you care about animals. Everyone cares about animals. Yeah. You love animals, but you do this behaviour, so you try and make up for that gap in between your attitude and your behaviour by saying that actually you don't mind animals being stabbed in the neck. That's not true, you do mind. You're all lovely people and do care. It's not your fault, it's habitus. Habitus is kind of how we learn to use the techniques of our body. It's how God, it's created by society. It's not your fault, it's habitus. But you do have the power to free yourself from that habit. You do have the power to get yourself out of that situation. So that's number 4. Number 5, having to be vegan in a non-vegan world is definitely the most difficult. Like, people. But being vegan in a non-vegan world, you realise that eating meat, dairy and eggs is the number 1 cause of the most horrific diseases: obesity, heart disease, osteoporosis, type 2 diabetes. It carries on. It's the leading cause of death in the Western world. It's the leading cause of global warming. It's the leading cause of deforestation, ocean dead zones, water usage, land usage, oil usage. It's the leading cause of malnutrition in the third world countries, undeveloped countries, or less developed countries. And it's also the leading cause of suffering when you take into account every sentient being. And it's just so difficult and frustrating, and you just feel helpless at the size of the system. It can either it can either inspire you, or you can feel helpless. And if you do feel helpless, then don't worry, because there's a growing momentum for veganism around the world. So you're not alone. I'm with you. Vegan, because I give a shit. Wear it proud. Wear it loud. Peace out.